Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the JMA Connections. Today is Tuesday, and this Tuesday is the 2nd of December 2025. I'm delighted to be here for us to have some news updates on what is going on in the southern Cameroons and also with neighboring the Republic of Cameroon. And I like to say this right here before. If you are not yet subscribed to the JMA Connections, please go right ahead and do that. Let's get many more people on board because we are getting to a very critical juncture in our liberation movement, particularly for the people of the southern Cameroons. And I guess that the people of the Republic of Cameroon are also at a very determining turning point right now. And so there's a lot going on, and so we all need to be very informed. I want to have, the best in terms of information. So if you're not yet subscribed to the JMA Connections, go right ahead and subscribe. Make sure you personalize so that each time something drops here, you will be the first to know. And if you are subscribed, do well to always share the communications as much as possible so we continue to reach out to as many people as possible. That said, folks, today I took time off to evaluate, to do an evaluation with, my people on the ground, my relays on the ground, also in the Republic of Cameroon, with respect to, the ghost towns call that was made by Alice Nkom, the spokesperson for Issa Chiroma Bakari, who is continued to be seen as the true president of Cameroon after the October 12, 2025 presidential election in that country. And so the results that I get are quite mitigated, very mitigated, and in effect, shy of the northern regions where people have given, perhaps in the city of Garoua, about 65 to 70%, in Marwa about 60%, in Gaundere about 55%. Shy of these areas, I would say for the rest of the regions down south, in fact, it was a failure. It was a failure, and we need to call it by its name. It was a failure. Of course, the people of the Republic of Cameroon have stood, true to their billing. The people of La République du Cameroon have demonstrated once more beyond reasonable doubt that that country is really not worth dying for. And today is day 2 after the death of opposition strongman Anicet George Ekane, and I was expecting that we will see the people, take the opportunity to rise up and to remind the government of Cameroon that this was one step just too much and this will no longer be accepted. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened just yet, and the ghost towns have largely been ignored in the cities of Douala, Bafoussam, I think even in Bertoua. But in the northern regions, there was some measure of respect. And you see, this is exactly what Mr. Biya and his gang, this is what they want. They always want to localize a crisis. When they localize a crisis, it becomes easier for them to deal with it. Biya had made clear that as long as Yaoundé is breathing, the rest of the country is alive. He doesn't care what is going on elsewhere, although there are a lot of dynamics that can make that very complicated. And so when the whole thing stays right now uh, in a way, as now a regional kind of, conflict, it poses a serious problem. Even more concerning were reports that I got from the informant that I had in Douala, especially yesterday, that a lot of the places that were locked down in Douala were mostly areas thickly populated by the Muslim people from the northern regions, by the people from the three northern regions. And so, if you notice, therefore, that is what it really was, it's painful and, it's regrettable. You should start asking questions. So the people now think that this affair now is an affair of the northerners or is still an affair for Cameroon as a whole. You will look back in history and you see that there's precedence for this. And that is why Biya always knows that he can do whatever he wants and he will end up going away with it. Look back in 1992. Yes, there were ghost towns in several places and all of those, but the government of Paul Biya chose the Northwest, how that's how it was called then, to declare a state of emergency. Put Frundi, who was the winner of the 1992 presidential election, under house arrest. Of course, they would have wanted to arrest him. They would have wanted to capture Frundi, take him and go and detain him, just like they did to Maurice Kamto in 2018. But it was not going to be easy to get Frundi. Why? Because the people of Bamenda had made it clear that it was going to be war to levels never before seen if they touched him. And Paul Biya knew, over the years, he knew that Frundi had people who were not just ready to support him, but who were ready to die for him. And dictators always fear such people. What they do is they only spend time working to see how to erode the public support for such a person until that time when that person totally loses public credibility, gets isolated, and they can do with that person whatever they want. And they attained that level with Mr. Frundi in the course of the Southern Cameroon's uprising and the determination of the people to, take back our country and, restore our independence. It is at that point that Frundi proved his vulnerability because he continued to want to stand for a one Cameroon, claiming that his political party, the SDF, was a national party, and so he was not going to fight a regional cause. And that is what put him at pals with the people who were ready to die for him yesterday, right to the point where even at death, some of the people were still so frustrated and angry at him because they felt that he betrayed, that the SDF ab initio, the SDF at creation, was actually meant to fight the cause of the people of the Southern Cameroons. But with time, the thirst for nationalist power and all whatnot got the SDF expanding to the point where concerns about the issues relating to the people of the Southern Cameroons got relegated to the rear. And so, therefore, what am I trying to say here? I'm explaining here that if you see the response to the ghost towns and the reaction of the people with the death of Anicet Ekane, you understand very quickly why Issa Chiruma did not buy into that narrative that the Babanas were too strong, the Babanas were very dangerous people, the Babanas were people with ironclad determination and they will support him and they can fight and die for this and that. He saw it, that if he stayed under the Yaoundé with their usual determination to crack down on whoever is standing in the way of their permanent stay in power, they were going to launch an assault at this place and the people could run and, and expose him. So that's why he moved. Because if the people, the Babana people, as they say, and not only them, other people from other parts of Cameroon had decided to get onto Biya and were moving into the streets daily in huge numbers always, as it was at the beginning, it would have sent a message to Issa Chiruma that you can stay here and count on these people. But now he realized that he perhaps needs to go out, try to create a system of alliances, work with people from all other horizons, and see how to start generating this whole thing now, but from outside. Because even Garwa, that's the northern region, you see their reaction with respect to the ghost towns. If it's not 90% in Garwa, then it is then it did not happen. It did not happen. Elsewhere, I'll take 40%, I'll take 55%, I'll take 60%, but in Garwa, no, it shouldn't have been. So you and I heard a lot of people come to tell us how the Babanas are up, the Babanas are down, the Babanas are a people who, when they start fighting, they don't give up. The Biya system has tried something now and they have come now face to face with the Babanas. My dear friends, Babana of the Republic of Cameroon, what suddenly happened? What happened that the Babanas that are described as lion men and women have suddenly, seen their claws clipped? What happened? Or there's still something in the offing? Or there are still plans to make the resistance really strong? Let us know this. I want the people of the Republic of Cameroon to understand this and get it very well. If you don't fight this system now, you think that 7 years from now you'll be able to fight them, it will end the same way as it has ended now. They know it. They have come to understand that this is how it will go always. And don't forget one thing, they are always certain that they have the backing not only of France, but of foreign Western powers that continue to benefit from the natural resources of the country at literally no cost. And so, therefore, they know they will kill and kill and kill, and nothing will happen to them. That is why Atanga Ponji could even boastfully say to people who went seeing him to talk about the situation of Anicet Ekane, that he wouldn't even regret if Ekane died in jail. Atanga Ponji said it. He wouldn't even regret if Anicet Ekane died in jail. He said the system had done everything, offered Ekane everything, even bought him medication before. What Atanganji is in effect telling you and me is that the system had provided Anicet Ekane every kind of thing to make him not stand with the people of the Republic of Cameroon, to make him understand that he needs to be part of the chopping machinery, that he needs to be part of the government machinery where they milk the people and milk the people and milk until they can milk no more. But Anicet Ekane continue to make things difficult for them, continue to make life difficult for them. So Atanganji Paul said, I mean, he could die. He doesn't care, and we wouldn't even regret 1 inch. So, little wonder then, when Rene Emmanuel Sadi says there are some ministers who make decisions, and he says in the interest of the state, but don't find it fit to consult with other members of government. This is what I've said before, that Atanga Ponji is a super minister. Super minister because the system has seen that he is someone who has so much to lose if the system collapses. And so therefore, they weaponize him. They allow him to become the bully of the state. What Atanga Ponji doesn't understand himself is that he is carrying upon himself, a good chunk of the sins of that regime. And the day that regime sinks, not only will he be on his own, other people may have considerations. Other people may be slightly pardoned. But Atanga Ponji may find himself in a situation where Samuel Doe of Liberia found himself. That's what he doesn't realize. And so, because they have realized that when they scream, when they bully, the people run into their shelves, that's why things are going on the way they are going. I'm seeing more and more the people saying, oh no, we just have to copy what is happening in the southern Cameroons. No, we just have to copy it. That's the kind of resistance that they want. When 1, 2, 3, 4 will fall, this thing or that thing will happen. I tell the people of La République du Cameroon, it doesn't begin that way. You have to, first of all, put up a resistance that the world sees. And then you are being brutalized, and at the end of the day, you come in self-defense. That is seen differently. That's how it is. It's seen differently. Otherwise, perhaps what you want to do is form a rebel movement. Because see, that's what a lot of them are recommending to Issa Chiruma Bakari right now to do, to form a rebel movement with arms to overthrow Yaoundé. But one thing you can bear in mind, Paul Biya is never going to disappear in peace. Even if Paul Biya dies today, I have said it and I repeat it several times, you won't even know that he is dead. Because the way the system is run now, Paul Biya is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient in their minds. Paul Biya is their demigod. You don't need to see him. You only need to hear that he has said. You only need to hear that he has decided. You only need to hear that he will support. You only need to hear that he is against. That is what it is. That is what it is. So when you look at the situation right now, you ask yourself, are the people of the Republic of Cameroon normal human beings? The Arab Spring in Northern Africa began because a young man decided to set himself on fire. Oh yes, a young man decided to set himself on fire because it was too much. He could not take it anymore. He said, this country is mad. and the system is against the people, and the people can no longer breathe. So therefore, there is no use living. Better I just do this. He set himself on fire, and that ended the regime of a serious dictator known as Ben Ali, that moved into Egypt and ended the regime of Hosni Mubarak, that moved into Libya and finally led to the death of Muammar Gaddafi. So you look at this, that's what you call the Arab Spring. It came as a result of one young man, one only. But look at Cameroon. Martinez Zogo was killed in the most brutal manner imaginable. The people sat quiet. It didn't happen to me. It's too bad. I really pity him. I fear what really happened to him. But anyway, what will we do? We're just there now. It didn't happen to me. It happened to them. The people of the family of Brian Fombo, that's another one that was brutally killed too before that. He's a journalist too. They too had mourned before, and the family of Martinez Zogo certainly said it did not happen to us until it reached them. Before this people, there was Bibingota. There was Bibingota, another journalist that had serious issues with Laurent Esso, and they did everything, tortured him in every way until Bibingota finally died in jail. He was sick. They refused to allow him to get access to his medication. That's how Bibingota ended. The people, certainly the family of Martinez Zogo and that Brian Fombo said, oh wow, that's too sad. It was as if it's just something that happened somewhere else. It really didn't concern them. They stayed quiet. They watched our own Aya Paul Abine, who was detained for 8 months and his medication and everything taken from him. He was detained in a room with no lights for no crime committed, just because he mentioned that the system was rigged against itself. Just because he said the people of the southern Cameroons had rights and deserved rights. What happened to him? He came away from there blind. He came away from there even very sick. But when he came out, they blocked his pension, made sure he never earned his pension. As a retired Chief Justice of the country, a country he had served for over 40 years, he suffered and suffered, would not get adequate medical treatment, even tried at some points to get medical evacuation. They won't let him until he died. Fortunately, at least for the late venerated Aya Paul Abine, the people of the southern Cameroons are still up fighting. They disappeared Samuel Wazizi. Until this day, the family has never seen the remains of Samuel Wazizi, the journalist. Oh, despite all the noise made, they denied until finally they could not deny anymore. Even when they accepted that he had died in their custody, they never ever returned the remains to the family. Because the circumstances of his death were such that they could never even tell you where the remains were. Whatever they did with the remains, no one knows. In the Republic of Cameroon, they said, c'est les anglophones là. Yeah, it didn't mean a thing. We have seen southern Cameroonians die there, chained to the hospital bed. I still have the image of this gentleman chained to his bed while he was sick, suffering, only seeking an opportunity to get treatment, and for no crime committed, just because he said he was suspected of supporting the pro-independence movement in the southern Cameroons. While in other countries, they are consulting people at true referenda to find out if they want to still belong to wherever they are, if they show discontent. France, that is sponsoring the genocide in the southern Cameroons, always asks for the people of Quebec in Canada to be given an opportunity to vote freely if they want to remain part of Canada or they want to be an independent country. But in the case of the Southern Cameroons, the French consider that we are not human enough to be given that kind of opportunity. We are not human enough to be consulted. We are not human enough to even seek, to even think that we want independence. We need to be slaughtered and slaughtered beyond imagination because we don't have the same color like the French. My dear people, this is why I continue to hail the people of the Southern Cameroons. Even if sometimes we face disorganization, we face setbacks, we face challenges, but we are moving. Even areas where they thought that they had already liberated and all of those things that they had taken back over, you notice that today they are facing vicissitudes there. The actions of members of the CPDM crime syndicate in the Southern Cameroons during their last rubbish they called election in the Southern Cameroons has caused even places that had literally gone calm to get back into the news. Oh yes, those that had the audacity to claim that over 5,800 people voted for Paul Biya in Batibo provoked the wrath of the people. I learned this morning that a young gendarme officer lost his life in Ambo. Ambo is just about 15 minutes drive from the Batibo squares. This morning, today, the 2nd of December, 2025. But it will be a long time that you last heard any serious action like that in that particular area since the death of Ekane. I think even before the death of Ekane, you didn't hear that. But this is the anger that is brewing in people because of those kind of actions. I have seen something circulating on social media just now as I was about to wrap this conversation. I think that just popped up to me that there's something called Marche Blanche, a memoir that Anicet Ekane, that they are calling on people to assemble before the residence or no, before the headquarters of Le Manidem political party in Douala on the 3rd, that's this Wednesday, the 3rd of December 2025 at 11 a.m. And they're asking people, venez nombreux, donner de l'oxygène à Anicet Ekane. What they mean by venez nombreux, donner de l'oxygène à Anicet Ekane, because the gendarmes, the military, confiscated his medical equipment, confiscated, the aspirator he always used for oxygen because of his health, and only returned it 3 to 4 days before his death, when they knew that he was going to die. When they knew they had finished him, they now wanted to pretend as if they had given him everything. He had all what he needed. He had all what had been taken from him just before he died. And you heard Atanga Ponji say that he wouldn't regret if he died in custody, meaning that the instructions from Atanganji were clear. Torture him right up to the point where you know that he's nearing death, and then anything can happen. So this call, I wonder what it will look like. You will hear tomorrow that in Douala, before the office of Le Manidem, maybe 15, 20 or 30 people showed up. When the people resign to fate, dictators only celebrate. Even in the Bible, they don't say run away from a dictator or run away from the devil and he will run away from you. They don't say just sit there and be crying helpless and the devil will pity you. They say resist the devil and he will flee from you. Resist. Resist. That's the mantra in the Southern Cameroons. And I couldn't be more proud coming from the Southern Cameroons. My dear people, I understand that Issa Chiruma Bakari is putting in place what his advisors are calling a robust strategy to boost his ability to return to Cameroon in February of 2026 and take power. We're all waiting. We'll all be watching. We'll all be monitoring. Once the details begin to emerge, I'll be right back here for us to make greater meaning of it. We're in a watch and see posture. But until then, I will continue to come up here on a daily basis with updates on what exactly is happening right back there. Thank you very much for your very kind attention. If you're not yet subscribed to this platform, the JMA Connections, once more, go right ahead and do that and make sure to share the link as much as possible. To God be the glory.